Welcome to Buzz Around the Globe. French lawmakers on Monday overwhelmingly approved a bill to enshrine abortion rights in France's constitution, making it the only country to explicitly guarantee a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy. The historic move was proposed by President Emmanuel Macron as a way to prevent the kind of rollback of abortion rights seen in the United States in recent years. And the vote during a special joint session of France's parliament drew a long-standing ovation among lawmakers. The measure was approved in a 780 to 70 votes in the Palace of Versailles. Abortion enjoys wide support in France across most of the political spectrum and has been legal since 1975. There were jubilant scenes of celebrations all over France as women's rights activists hailed the measure promised by Macron within hours of the Dobbs ruling by the US Supreme Court in 2022. The US decision has reverberated across Europe's political landscape, forcing the issue back into public debate in some countries at a time when far-right nationalist parties are gaining influence. Both houses of France's parliament, the National Assembly and Senate, had separately adopted a bill to amend Article 34 of the French Constitution. But the amendment needed final confirmation by a 3/5 majority in the special joint session. The measure specifies that the law determines the conditions by which is exercised the freedom of women to have recourse to an abortion, which is guaranteed. The French measure is seen as going a step further than was the case in the former Yugoslavia, whose 1974 constitution said that a person is free to decide on having children. Yugoslavia dissolved in the early 1990s, and all its successor states have adopted similar measures in their constitutions that legally enable women to have an abortion, though they do not explicitly guarantee it. In the lead up to the vote, French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal addressed the more than 900 lawmakers gathered for the joint session in Versailles and called on them to make France a leader in women's rights and set an example for countries around the world. Attal said, "We have a moral debt to women, and that we have a chance to change history." None of France's major political parties have questioned the right to abortion, including Marine Le Pen, whose far-right nationalist rally party, and the conservative Republicans. Le Pen, who won a record number of seats in the National Assembly 2 years ago, said on Monday that her party planned to vote in favor of the bill, but added that there is no need to make this a historic day. A recent poll showed support for abortion rights among the French public at more than 80%, consistent with previous surveys. The same poll also showed that a solid majority of people are in favor of enshrining it in the Constitution. A group of about 200 anti-abortion protesters gathered soberly in Versailles ahead of the vote, some holding a banner reading, "I too was an embryo." A larger crowd of women's rights activists gathered near the Eiffel Tower, letting out a collective cry of joy as the vote results came in. Others celebrated around France even before the joint parliamentary session began. It may not be an issue in France when a majority of people support abortion, but those same people may one day vote for a far-right government. And what happened in the US can happen elsewhere in Europe, including in France. And this is why the change was needed. Inscribing abortion into the French Constitution will make it harder for abortion opponents of the future to challenge these rights, but it won't prevent them from doing it in the long run with the right political strategy. Please note that amending the Constitution is a laborious process and a rare event in France. Since it was enacted in 1958, the French Constitution has been amended 17 times. The Justice Minister of France said the new amendment will be formally inscribed into the Constitution at a public ceremony at Vendôme Plaza in Paris on Friday, which is the International Women's Day. Do tell us what you think about this video in the comment section, and for more news updates, subscribe to India Today.